a podcast where you don't need an invite to join the conversation. Welcome to Add Me to the Group Chat. Welcome to another episode of Add Me to the Group Chat. I am going to be having my mom on today, which I'm really happy about. I think it's really cool to be able to sit down with your mom and have conversations. We went there. So we talked about childhood, things today, definitely had some moments of like, oh my gosh, we have got to do this next time. And I think that we're going to have another recording. So this went a little longer than expected and we had some technical difficulties. So bear with the audio, you guys. This is a newer podcast to me as I figure out all the kinks, but it was such a good episode that I didn't want to scratch it. So I'm really happy today to be able to bring this to you. So give us a 5-star rating for sure and subscribe. That's the simplest thing that you can do to support the platform as it's growing and as we, get more stories out there and have fun. So you can do a little eavesdropping. All right, well, let's go ahead and get right into it.
Before you were born, because I had a husband who was never a husband.
Yeah.
Stocked up.
No.
We need waters and tissues and all the things around your...
Well, you know what?
Yes,
it's not in the budget.
Okay. I'll make a contribution.
That'd be great. I'm like grandmother. Like it's so...
But we always called our grandmother's grandmother.
Yeah. To me, it's very natural, but to the kids, I said Gigi. She wrote a book, and she... For like FaceTime. FaceTime, I'm like, Mom's like, that doesn't even take any like skill. And I'm like, wow. Freaking jerk. Hi, you guys. It's my mom.
Hi.
What's up? Okay, she has coffee that has no lid on it, and it's making me extra nervous.
I don't like a lid on my coffee cup.
Well, I don't like a lid spilling. I mean, a cup spilling makes me nervous.
Okay. I'll be careful.
Okay. All right. So I hope that the setup is right because it took a minute, and we're a little behind schedule, but it's okay. We are fine. This is going to be relaxed. Very calming day.
Yes.
Zen. Mm-hmm. I want you to test your mic for a second. Look into your mic.
Yes.
Say testing.
Testing.
That's how you need to be.
Testing.
So if you've got to scoot your body closer to it, then we got to...
I cannot move my body.
Yeah, just do that when you're like talking.
Okay, when I say something, I'll just crane my neck up.
That's perfect. That's why I like mine. You see how close mine is to my mouth?
I think mine is that close.
Well, it's not. I think
it's as close as yours. Isn't that better?
Mm-hmm. Okay. You guys, welcome to Add Me to the Group Chat. I'm excited that you're here or that you're tuning in and listening until the video drops. I love to drop the audio and then a week later we drop a video. It's really fun. And a lot of people do know who my mom is that, I guess is like in my life, obviously.
That's how they know me, through you?
Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay.
But I thought it would be really fun to have my mom on because obviously your parent is like a huge part of you.
Very instrumental in your life.
Very.
And very important.
Yes.
And someone you will love and cherish forever.
Forever.
Even when she's gone.
Wow. That just got really sad.
Let's don't be sad about it, but, it is true.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
One day.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Okay, so a little bit about my mom, just to kind of give her a little spiel, even though y'all kind of heard a little bit as I intro every video. I try to. Sometimes I don't. But my mom looks like me, so she is so blessed.
Amber made me.
I say that all the time. And I get a lot of my quirky things and my attitude and my drive from my mother. So if y'all are ever wondering, what's Amber's mom like? Well, she is kind of me, but I'm a little bit more of a 10.
You crack me up, Amber, that you really do think I'm like you.
You are. Because you think I'm like you.
I don't think you're like me. I think you have characteristics of mine, but you came from me.
I did come from you.
I didn't come from you.
Yeah, but you...
But I look at... People think we look alike, and I do see that.
Yeah.
Some. But I think you're way prettier than me.
Oh, gosh. I think you're gorgeous.
Oh.
You're welcome.
You know, one day.
We do look the same, but we are definitely not the same
My
age.
hair was never dark.
It was a brown.
In pictures, it looked brown. It was always kind of a dirty blonde growing up.
Then, well, yeah.
And then, of course, it turned. I colored it for a while. And then I turned it.
White.
God turned it white. Y'all turned it white.
It was very blonde, though, but then
Well, I started
You've
going
stepped into the
blonder
gray.
and blonder so that I could let my natural whiteness come out of my hair. And I wanted it to be silver for a long time, and I tried to color it to be silver, and it would wash out the next day, and it was... But anyway, I spent a lot of time trying to get it this color.
Are you going to drink your coffee, or are you just going to keep playing with your
I
cup?
like to hold it.
Don't sip like Angel. The mic picks up everything.
Put it over there. Put it somewhere.
What is happening? Put it right there. Put it right beside you, and then you can pick it up when you want to sip. I think it's your security blanket.
I just enjoy a hot cup of coffee, and it's going to be cold sitting down there.
Well, do you want your lid for it?
On it.
Yeah. Complicated. If y'all have ever seen Bon Qui, which she would do like SNL skit, I don't know if she started on SNL. I can't even think of her actual real
I
name.
think she was on SNL.
She is a hilarious comedian, and she would do sketches where,
I still watch her.
yeah, she does come up a lot. She's just
I
brilliant.
love a good comedian.
Yeah.
That's not full of, all the bad, awful language throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's really doesn't need that. She's funny.
She is funny. She's clean. I mean, I don't know. I've never gone to one of her shows. She could not be, but I mean, she is funny.
Well, what you see on YouTube, I've never heard her say bad words.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because she's a parent. I don't know. Doubt it, because that's not really true. But she's very funny. And there was a whole sketch of her doing, it was called King Burger. It wasn't Burger King. It was King Burger.
King
Yeah.
Burger.
And
Welcome to King Burger.
Yeah. Where you can have it your way. She would have like yellow hair, and she was just funny. Like, she's funny, and she's a little quirky, and she's just like a little ratchet in there. And she literally had us rolling. And then I would just try to like imitate her. Is it imitate? Imitate her. And I would kind of do my own twist to it, because obviously I'm not her and I'm not a comedian, but I just always thought it was so funny. But yeah, I need to freshen up.
Complicated order has stuck.
Yeah.
Because complicated order.
Yeah. Somebody would come in.
Say it like her. I sound like a New Yorker.
You do sound like a New Yorker. Yeah. But everything's complicated. And as I was setting this up, I was like, this is so complicated. It's very complex. All the things that you have to do. I don't have a producer. And the 5 of y'all that are watching and listening, you guys, it's a lot of work.
Only 5 of you out there?
Just 5. Even when there's way more than that, I'll probably still say 5.
entertain.
It keeps me very humble. One thing I think about you and I is that we like to build ourselves up, even if no one else does.
Hey, because you have to.
We're really good at that.
Somebody just said to me this morning, actually, my sister.
Wow.
She said,
a family member.
People who are critical of others are lacking in themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think so, yeah.
And so she said people who build others up are very well-rounded, stable, and confident. And that's what I try to be, well-rounded, stable, and confident.
Yeah.
And
where do you think you got your confidence from?
Life. Going through, I don't know though, because I was always kind of I came across as confident, and a lot of times I come across now as confident when I'm not so confident.
Right.
I can fake it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anybody to think I'm weak. I don't like to be a victim.
Is this a therapy session?
This is, maybe. I don't like to be seen as a victim. I don't like being weak.
I think that comes with, though, like, everything stems from like your past. So whatever you've been through in your past, it always comes out as an adult. So like the things that you're saying right now, it's because you've probably been that way before in those situations, and you were. So now you're like, never again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The things that you have never known about me?
Okay, well, that leads me into a great question. I don't
Give me
really.
a tissue. I feel like I'm.
Oh my gosh, I can't get up. I kick everybody out of the house. I'm like, do not come in between
but
these
we need
hours.
to be more stocked up.
No,
Like,
no,
we
no.
need waters and tissues and all the things around your.
Well, you know what? It's
guest
not in the
unit.
budget.
Okay. I'll make a contribution.
That'd be great. The tissues are actually right there.
I don't have.
Yeah, we have no hands, and I'm not getting up.
It's all right.
It's not, just get your mouth from the camera and sniffle. Yeah, that sounds good. That's good. It's not awkward at all. But what are things that you never shared with me as a kid because you thought it would like freak me out, scare me, anything like that?
Things that I never shared with you when you were a kid?
Well, just in general, like, you're a parent, so you've raised us, and there's things that have happened that you're just like, I'm never going to share this with them because it would just be too much. Because this segues into what you were just talking about.
Well,
your childhood's
really,
rushing
my
in.
childhood was very different than your childhood. But, I had a good childhood, but I did some things. Now, listen, you might have done some things too. We might need to find out today.
Oh, gosh.
But you were 18 months old when I became a single mom.
Yeah.
And really, I was a single mom way before you were born because I had a husband who was never a husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sad.
And I hope I don't cry because it is emotional still for me today. You would think after all these years, I wouldn't be emotional about it.
Well, I think sometimes you can get emotional about it if you don't ever talk about it. But if it's a conversation that you have, not often, but it's like you normalize it in a sense, then I think that you can just speak on it.
Well, when y'all were little, I didn't want you to think where we were as a family unit was not normal. I wanted you to feel normal. I wanted you to feel secure and happy and taken care of and seen and disciplined and all of the things. I wanted to provide that stable family life. Like, I cooked dinner every night when you were little. I made sure y'all had breakfast every morning. I did those kind of things. And we had bath time every night. We had a very structured day and night routine, yes. And anyway, I felt like I was mom and dad. And I had to learn how to do both. And then, anyway.
I don't feel like as a kid that it wasn't normal. I felt like our life was very normal. I felt like I had a really calm childhood. So that's good because it was actually pretty chaotic.
I wanted to make sure, too, you had good friends.
Yeah.
And that I knew their parents. And that I was surrounded myself with good people who were caring and that who would push me to be better. And, I just tried to surround us with good people. And I think I did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, I don't really ever remember weirdos being around. Do you know what I mean?
Weirdos allowed. No.
Yeah, never. And if they were weird, we didn't find out immediately. Maybe later in life.
I don't know who you might be referring to. But, okay, I'll take it.
But I remember my earliest memory is when we lived in the duplex. And
well, that's when I first became a single mom. I moved us from there to there.
Yeah.
And they were nice. I wasn't going to, I really wanted, I looked at lots of apartments before I moved to this area. And they were like, oh, ghetto. It just seemed like I could not take y'all to the ghetto.
Yeah.
And just run down little apartments that were just just lots and lots of apartments squeezed together. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I found these duplex apartments that had just been built. They were very nice. They were spacious. They had their own driveway, their own yard. It was very important that y'all had a yard to play in. That we could have a pet.
We did.
And, I wanted things to be normal. And so, anyway.
They felt normal.
God
Now,
just
Angel
provided
might
that
think
place.
differently.
Well,
think
she was 4 years older than
she
you.
was
so
old. Yeah.
Yeah, she was starting school as we moved, and that was very traumatic, I think, for her. It was traumatic for all of us.
Y'all haven't heard Angel's episode. You can listen to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But yeah, I liked where we lived. I thought it was really cool. And then we moved. I have memories there. I just don't have like anything that was like horrifying. It was just regular to me. I do remember this though. This is very creepy because now as a parent, I see this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what happened to me. So we would have the bus stop at the road in front of like the entrance, as most used to. Like now there's not really a fancy bus stop, but it was like a cute little, had a roof, whatever, if rain was coming. But I think we got dropped off at the bus stop, I think is what happened. I don't know what it was, but we were walking home from the bus stop and no trees. Like every tree was so still except 2 trees in the middle. This is like, it's like, I feel like it just happened yesterday. No trees are moving. It felt like a forest in the middle of like all the woods in front of our place. And 2 trees were moving.
And they were talking to you?
It was weird. And I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, is somebody in those woods moving these large trees? Why are none of the other trees moving around it? Only 2 trees are moving. And we walked home and I was so scared. And I always think about that. I'm like, how did 2 trees move and all the other ones were still?
And Zacchaeus was sitting in the tree.
But now we have so many woods around us and I'm like, sometimes I see that. I see 1 tree move and everything else is very still. That's how the wind works. It's very creepy. It's very weird. But anyways, that's all.
I've never seen that in my life.
That's well. Now y'all will
trees.
all be looking at the trees. I swear to you, it happens, and I'm like, oh
Well, the
my
bus stop
gosh.
story that I remember with you is, you would ride the bus, and I always had a neighbor person who, because I couldn't. Well, in the beginning, y'all were younger, and I would pick you up. I would drop you off at preschool, and they would keep you, and the bus would pick up at the preschool and take you to school and then bring you back. That was Angel. That was before you started school.
I stayed at
and you
preschool.
stayed at preschool. But Angel got picked up there.
Got it.
But then when you started going to school, then I didn't leave. Well, I don't know how we did that. But anyway, I had a neighbor that watched y'all before and after school. And y'all would go to the bus stop from her house. I don't know.
We would go inside though.
can't
Angel was a
remember all
little
those
bit older, so we would like help ourselves in the house. We would do our thing. We knew that our neighbor was there, which was like family friend, still is. And so it's like, it just...
Well, I knew all my neighbors. I mean,
Yeah.
we were friends with
Everybody.
around me.
Yeah, so it was very, like, it wasn't
Everybody
a
let
weird
their kids
neighborhood.
Play outside,
Yeah.
and run around, and we didn't have to know exactly where you were all the time.
Oh my
We
gosh,
might
I
run-
could never exist.
I know it was such a freedom. I work with single moms now, and I
Can't do that.
hear them say, "No, I just wish my daughter could find a friend," and I'm like, "Well, you live in an apartment complex, or not? They're not." They're like, "No, you cannot."
You can't do that.
And I'm like, you got to find a friend. You got to find a neighbor, because if it wasn't for Katie.
Yeah.
Katie?
Yeah, it was Katie.
That doesn't sound right now.
It is. It's Katie.
Catherine.
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
I mean, we're not trying to name drop on this place, but we
But anyway,
definitely just did.
Katie. But you would be at Katie's house,
Right.
and I would call down and I'd say to her mom, "Barbara, I'm going to the store. You've got Amber for an hour? Okay." And I would go to the store and come back. Fine.
That is crazy.
And then she would call me and say, "Okay, I'm going to run to the store. Katie's up there with you?" "Yes." "Okay." And Angel the same way. We did that all the time.
There's no cell phone. There's only a landline.
We would pick up a landline phone and call.
Yeah.
Or we'd go outside and say, "Hey,"
And
we'd
yell.
walk down to the edge of the yard and say, "Hey, they okay down there for about an hour?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Y'all rode your bikes. But I mean, we were on a cul-de-sac our whole development was on a little cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't that many apartments. So we knew pretty much who was down there.
There was never a
And we
freaky
had our
time.
bulldog, Petey.
He wouldn't hurt a fly.
Well,
He was sweet.
He did one time.
Who'd he
went
hurt?
after somebody because they acted like they were going to go after you.
Oh,
He
I
didn't
didn't know
bite 'em,
that.
but he went after him. Oh, yeah, because we thought we might lose him for a little bit. We thought they might take him. He didn't bite anybody.
Nobody took him?
No.
Because I was going to say, I don't remember that.
He lunged after somebody. You were on your bike, and it was another kid that was acting like they were going to do something to you.
Wow.
And he lunged.
Off of a leash?
He would just run loose in the neighborhood. He had a kennel outside, and we'd put him in the kennel at night with his house.
Let's talk about this. Why was he never inside permanently?
Well, he came inside when it was real cold outside.
Yeah, but was it like a thing back then where like your animals were not allowed inside? Because he never had. It wasn't like he's an inside dog.
It was called a landlord.
Oh, that was his rule.
Yeah. So I brought him in though when it was
cold,
like stormy or cold or really hot, and he would sit right at the back door. He was a great dog, but the landlord got wind of it somewhere along the way, and he would talk to me about it frequently. Like, you're going to have to get rid of that dog if you keep letting him in your house. And I'm like,
wow.
He has a kennel out here, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And he let me put the kennel out there. That wasn't a norm too, but I could talk I could get people convinced to do things for me because I said, this dog really means. And John bought the dog for us, so we didn't have the dog in the beginning.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Who did he get the dog from?
He took you and Angel. John and I had been to a flea market in Charlotte.
Dang.
And somebody had a litter of these pit bull puppies. And they were precious. And I, of course, picked him up because he was kind of a seal gray.
Yeah.
He was different than the others. And he was so precious, and I was holding him, and then we had to put him back, and we left because, I wasn't allowed to have a dog. So John went back.
That same day?
Yeah, I think so, with you and Angel. And he stuck Petey in your zipped up jacket.
Oh my gosh.
And came back in the house, and you had Petey.
Oh my gosh.
So y'all went with him to get him.
Dang.
John and I weren't married. We were just dating. In fact, we had just started dating.
He was like, here's one more thing to take care of. You're welcome.
Well, he knew my love for
animals. That's where it starts, y'all. Oh, that's the true story. It really is. So, Petey, if you're wondering, like, he looked like the Little Rascals dog, like on Little Rascals. So cute. Yeah, he was really, really cute. Well, I didn't know that. The only time I felt unsafe where we used to live was when all that stuff started happening with our biological dad. He pulled up one time in like his big blue van or something like that. You were not home, and we were down in the cul-de-sac playing, and I remember seeing the van. I think we saw him get out of his van. He had like flowers or something in his hand, and we ran to Katie's mom's home, and we were like, we can't leave my dad. Like, he just came. Like we knew he wasn't a good guy. Like, don't go home. Don't talk to him. Don't let him see that you're here. Like, he could have literally put us in his truck and left. Like, I feel like he would have done that, don't you?
No, I don't think.
You don't think so?
No.
Was there a court order at that time?
Yeah, he was given visitation. He wouldn't even take his visitation, but you would never want to go.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was okay with that because you were just a little baby, and that was too much for him to take care of.
Oh, yeah.
But he would take Angel, and Angel wanted to go with him.
Yeah.
But then he wanted to avoid, I mean, I don't want to make this a bash about him, but he didn't pay me child support.
Yep.
Except for a couple times when they got him and locked him up, and he had to pay
from his paycheck.
And then I think his stepdad paid it.
One of the sponsors for today's video is Blush Beauty. This is my personal brand and product line. You guys, I started this product line because I was really seeking relaxation in my life, and I got to a place where I found myself at the store every single week just going down the beauty aisles, looking for body care, looking for something like when I have 30 minutes to an hour at night and I want to do a body routine and a deep shower routine. I'm like, okay, what am I going to use? What's going to smell a certain way? I want my body to feel really smooth and hydrated, and just like I want the experience in the shower. I want to carry the experience outside of the shower. And I also want to carry the experience going to bed. So I created my line, Blush Beauty. Now we have everything from the whipped body butters to the body scrubs for exfoliation to a body cream. And it feels magical. And then we recently launched a bar soap. Having bar soap, I've been addicted to a soap bar, you guys, since before kids. And that's been over 12 years. I love not just any, I want it clean and natural and just simple ingredients. So when I read the ingredients, I'm like, oh, I know what that is. That is how Blush Beauty really operates. So head over to my website, which is ambermichelelykins.com. Use code AMBER at checkout to save 20% off your product order. And really, you're going to love it. So I will tell you, though, things go really fast. We do carry certain products during certain seasons. It is coming up on summertime, so the butter does not do as well shipping. So we are not going to be able to ship during the summer. So get whatever is left in stock, which is not much. So head over to ambermichelelykins.com, which is AMBERLYKINS.com. Use Amber at checkout for 20% off. Let's get back to today's episode. They do that now, though. Like, if you're not paying child support, don't they do something with
garnish wages?
Yeah, they take it out.
He worked for himself and his uncle. You know, he was a sheetrocker.
Yeah, there's no way.
He didn't work for a company, so that didn't ever happen.
Yeah.
But he took off to Raleigh to avoid, he would just go take these, I don't know, because I don't really know what was going on with him then. I just know he wouldn't be found. He wouldn't be around.
Right.
And back then, you couldn't really keep up with people. You know, I didn't know where he lived half the time. He didn't know where I lived in the beginning because
how did he even know we lived there?
Well, he ended up finding it. It took him a year to find us.
That's so weird. Isn't that creepy, though? Didn't that scare you?
Yeah, I guess. It probably irritated me more than anything. But I was very afraid of him. When I left, I was very afraid of him.
Couldn't you have called the cops, though, and said, and he could have been arrested if he was seen around us? Was it like that?
No.
Oh.
Because he had court orders that y'all were supposed to have visitation with him every other weekend.
So it wasn't like that. Yeah.
And I didn't care about pushing for child support or getting him arrested because I didn't want him to have y'all.
Yeah.
Because I didn't trust him.
Right.
But I didn't try to keep y'all from him. I just let him essentially just hang himself, is really, because he did the damage to himself.
Not physically. He never hung himself.
But just...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like,
screw him up.
Himself, you know.
Yeah.
But
I've actually never heard that saying.
He would have so much to teach you.
I'm 39. Never heard it.
Anyway, he just made bad decisions.
Yeah. Well, I remember.
I heard Angel on the podcast say he could have been a good guy. He was. Listen, I want to tell you something about your biological dad. He was fun. He was the life of the party. He was very charismatic. He was very handsome, I thought. Most people did. Now, there's some rough pictures of him out there. I get it. But he was handsome. He was a great dancer.
That's where I get my moves from, you guys.
He was a very good dancer.
Ooh la la.
Everybody liked him. People trusted him. But then he started taking advantage of that as he, started. And he was, when I met him, he would smoke a little weed, a lot of weed probably.
Would he grow it?
A little sometimes. We had it on our front porch in
flower
pots sometimes.
People talk about how easy it is to grow and you wouldn't even know it's in people's...
It was, that was just his way of saying, hey, I can do this if I want to. He didn't really grow it out of the flower pots and dry it out and whatever you have to do. He would buy it or whatever.
It really is interesting, though,
that they say... He wasn't a big drinker. He wasn't a big... I never knew him really to drink.
He just did hard drugs.
Pot. And I wasn't one to really engage in all that, but I thought it's okay,
Are you talking about when y'all were dating?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then, after we got married, he started doing more and more, and then he would start selling it, and then he was then it was something else that he could buy and sell for somebody to make some money. so it just started growing and being more and more, and he was, he just started getting mean. Mm-hmm. And he was always kind of had a tendency to be mean. I don't want this whole segment to be about him.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. We can move on.
But anyway, yeah, let's move on from all that, because it really is. I tried to write a book one time.
Yeah, what would the title of the book be?
I never could title it, but I do have about 9 chapters written on this book. There is a copy of it.
My mom's mom, well, we call her grandmother. She's passed, and I would call her Gigi, reference her as Gigi to my kids, because I thought it was cute. Like, grandmother's such a long word. I'm like, grandmother? Like, it's so...
But we always called our grandmother's grandmother.
Yeah. To me, it's very natural, but to the kids, I said Gigi. She wrote a book, and she...
Oh, Lord.
First of all, she would be the best guest to have on. She's freaking hilarious.
Well, her book, that would be a funny thing now,
to read it.
To bring her book and read some segments.
We can do it.
We did that. Me and my sister Denise and her friend Jane went to the beach, and I took that book years ago, and we sat and we would just read segments, and we would laugh so hard. My mama was a hoot, and she self-published this book. No, if there was an editor. I know she self-published, but she said, this woman, she kept telling me that I needed to rewrite this or that, and I told her, I'm not rewriting any of it. Wow. It is exactly like I wanted it. So evidently she had somebody that was trying to give her some editing advice.
Right.
And she said, no.
Keep it like it is.
Keep it like it is.
How many chapters is it?
I don't know. 12. I don't even know if it's in chapters.
It's just a book.
It's chaos.
Oh.
I wish I had it right now.
But it's at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have multiple copies of it.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you gift us one?
I don't know. I thought y'all all had one.
No. I know grandmother.
I mean, I know I have 2 copies. I don't know if I have multiple. I've given some away.
Do you know what would be really cool is that if you just like redo it or whatever and actually publish it like in memory of her, I think that'd be super cool.
That's a good idea. Maybe one day in my spare time I'll do that.
Yeah, you have a lot of spare time. You know.
I have a lot of projects.
All the things. Yeah, you like to get yourself in a lot. Okay, so as we all do, let's dive into any advice for single moms, because I don't want to just like bypass that. Anything that you would want, because you do work with single moms, which how did you get started with that? This is not really an interview, but I think this is really important because my mom really did a lot as a single mom. As for me, I can only speak for me, I don't ever remember it being like you're a single mom and we're struggling. Even if we were, we always had food, we always had a house, we always had clothes.
Well, I had a good job.
Yeah, I think you did well for yourself.
I had a good job at IBM, and then IBM sent me to school, and I got my degree.
Yeah.
And I got good positions at IBM because I was willing to work hard.
Right.
And so anyway.
So we didn't really struggle. It was just...
But it was tight. Like, I was thinking on the way over here this morning that I wish I knew, because I sent Ava something about childbirth or something, and she said, thank you so much for always sending me this stuff. And I said, I wish I knew all of the things I know now 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I would have done some things different. So I was thinking about that on the way over here. Really, what would I have done different? And I thought, well, like when it comes to nutrition and stuff like that. But the good news is I did have enough sense to know that we didn't need junk. So I didn't have a lot of junk in the house, but we didn't have money for junk. That was a blessing. So you're asking what would I tell single moms, and I tell them this all the time, is that, look, don't put your money in all this junk. Put your grocery money in good quality food.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And you don't need chips and cookies and ice cream, and you just don't need all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those things you can have on a rare occasion, and we did. So, like when y'all were little, I can remember us going to my sister Denise's and you begging her, because she had a whole closet of junk. Just potato chips and cookies and Pop-Tarts. And you're like, Pop-Tart, I don't have Pop-Tart. And so, and Denise felt so sorry for y'all. She said, you never give them treats. And I'm like, they get treats, but they don't get them on a daily basis. They can't eat this stuff all day.
Yeah.
And so, but on birthdays, I would always get Domino's pizza and ice cream, and I'd get y'all a birthday cake, and we'd have cookies, and just totally garbage out on stuff.
Yeah.
And have a sleepover, and let y'all have friends over, and have a mess, and let y'all stay up late and watch movies, and do all the things that you don't normally get to do. Y'all get to do that every now and then.
Yeah.
But on a normal basis, no. My groceries had to buy meat and eggs and vegetables.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get child support, but I didn't have a lot of extra money,
right.
but I became a good money manager, I think, with what I had. So anyway, so I had a good job.
Yeah.
And then, I think the question was, what would I tell single moms? So that was the one thing. Right, it's about groceries.
I mean, now everything's different. Everything costs way more in this.
Well, and I hear that a lot. Is like, my money's tight, and some of these single moms don't get child support for some of the same reasons I didn't. And so I really help them to try to be a good money manager, put your money in things that matter.
Yeah. Like,
I didn't go get my nails done and go get my hair. I mean, I learned how to cut my own hair, and I learned how to do my own nails. And, I just did things for myself that other people went out and paid for.
Right.
I washed my own car. I cleaned my own house. I just did all those things.
Yeah. I actually love that, because I think now it's very romanticized in a way to be like, oh my gosh, who does your hair? Oh my gosh, are you going to my nail girl? Like, but that stuff, I mean, is very costly. And I think that some moms probably just go like, but it makes me feel good. I want to.
Well, this was late 80s, early 90s, late 80s really when y'all were little. So perms were in, you know, the tight curl perm. So I would go get me a perm, and I would pay for a perm.
Because you had some.
I had me some curls, girl.
We had
John
glare shots. Oh gosh.
John wants me to have my hair that way now. He loves that.
I really think you should grow your hair out, but you're so resistant.
I love my hair short. It's so free. Freedom is my
free.
But a perm would last a long time. Like, you could let your perm grow and be, you could do a lot of stuff if you just had a perm in your hair. So I would get a perm, and, I could do me some banana clips.
You did.
I could put some combs. I could do some little twisties. I could do all the stuff, and I could make it look good. Looking back, I don't know how good it looked, but
back then you were in style.
Yeah, it was stylish then.
Yeah.
But so that's my main thing with moms. And the second thing is that you don't need another man.
Yeah. Because people want to replace.
Now, I am not anti-man, and I do believe in husband, wife, and all that. But God did not design divorce.
Yeah.
That's not a normal thing. And so when you are in a divorce situation, or maybe you became pregnant, you were never married.
Right.
Whatever your reason is, you're single with a child. Sometimes multiple children. Sometimes multiple dads. But anyway, that's not the normal way to raise a family. Mm-hmm. And, most of the moms that I work with, they are professed Christians. And, the one thing that I know I did is I treated God as if He were my husband. Mm. He was the father of my children. I didn't go out looking for a man. I mean, I had been single with y'all in a new area for 2 years before I even met John.
Wow.
And then we dated almost 5 years before we married. And I really only dated maybe one person before him. And
how did you meet that person?
And it was at work. Oh. And I went out with him maybe twice because it's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times maybe. But, yeah, just enough to make John jealous, I guess is what it was. And then he came.
Like, what are you doing tonight? Got another date?
Mm-hmm. So he sent me flowers to work, and it about drove John insane. Yes, John, it did.
That'll do it too.
John said, "Oh, who are the flowers for?" But it was my birthday. He'd taken me out for my birthday, and then he sent me flowers.
Well, that was nice.
And John was like, "Oh, who are these flowers from?" And so they got delivered to work, sitting on my workstation.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Secret admirer. You probably hated that guy at work.
He still talks about him today.
Oh, wow. What's his name?
I'm not saying, but he'll tell you.
We'll bring it up in the next family meal.
Yeah.
We'll talk about y'all's dating life at the next family meal. It's funny that y'all dated for 5 years, because to me, I don't remember.
Well, it went by so fast in one sense, but in another, it's like, and John hates it when I say this, but it's the truth. I said, John, we either need to make a decision that we're going to be together forever as husband and wife, or we need to call it quits, because if in 5 years, you don't know, something ain't right.
Right.
So, and he was like, well, let's get married. I mean, that was kind of the proposal.
Oh.
He hates it when I say that, because he says it wasn't like that. But
wow. He's like, well, if you said that, let's go.
But you know, I heard you saying that to Alan on a podcast.
Yeah,
about that you kind of gave him an ultimatum and said, don't give him an ultimatum.
Yeah.
I didn't really give an ultimatum, like, if you don't marry me, then I'm leaving you.
Yeah, Alan and I dated for 4 years. I'm like, 4 years?
Well, that doesn't seem like y'all dated for 4 years either.
No, it really doesn't, but I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I feel the same way. Why are you dating for so long?
Well, I said, I'm too old for my kids to be referring to you as mama's boyfriend.
Oh, would we say that?
Yeah, mama's boyfriend.
What? I don't remember that.
John, mama's boyfriend.
Wow.
And I hated that.
Oh. I can see that. You know what? I think that's why we always called him John.
Yes, I was getting ready to say that very same thing. Had we gotten married earlier on, I think y'all would have not called him John, but y'all always called him John, mama's boyfriend.
Wow, that is really annoying. I did not know that.
And
I was a brat as a kid too. I think I was very...
That's what I was going to say about the bus stop.
Well, I want to just talk about this, because any single mom that you do redate and you do remarry or whatever, don't be offended by your children being resistant on calling the new guy dad, because I think that our biological father was very much like, it wasn't like he disappeared, we never knew about him. So I think to us, he's like, well, he's our biological, so you say dad. Like, you're like, well, that's my dad, because you know that's how you were created, by him. So you're like, okay, well, my dad. We know God has a hand in it. Come on, y'all. Get it. Let's not be too heavy. But I think that's why I just was like, that's weird. I'm not going to do that. But I don't remember that ever happening as a kid. So I bet that's why, as a kid, I always just said John. And then when I would get pissed off,
it's like you never had a dad, because you never called your biological dad.
I never did, because I didn't ever actually refer to him.
I think that caused you a lot of problems.
I have a lot of trauma. I actually have a lot of problems. I need to start therapy
But
again.
you and John were so like, he just loved. He loved Angel
I do
too.
love him very much.
And he's probably closer to Angel in a lot of senses now, than I am.
Yeah.
He just adores
By the way, he doesn't
both
want
of
to be on
y'all.
the podcast. I've already asked him.
John,
I asked him. He was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
He's uninterested.
That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. That's why I married him. He's got good sense. Listen, when I looked for a man, though, when I really started thinking, okay, I think I might be ready to date. I did date this one guy a couple times. And then, but I saw John from a distance, and I thought...
He was a cowboy.
Yeah, he wore his Wrangler jeans and his roper boots.
Did he wear that to work?
Yeah.
You could wear that to work?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't
We were
know that.
manufacturing, you know.
So it doesn't matter.
We were casual dressed every day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he had his tight Wrangler jeans and his little butt and his roper boots and his mullet.
He's not in his Wranglers.
He had his mullet and a full head of hair, and he had his mustache, and anyway, he was just very confident, and
oh, my stomach's growling.
but I thought he was just so handsome, and I asked a friend of mine, I said, who is that guy? And she said, his name's John. I said, is he married? And she said, no. I said, has he ever been married? And she said, I don't think so. Dang. So that was on my list.
Yeah, no baggage.
And does he have any kids? That was on my list too.
Yeah.
No kids. I said, I'd like to meet him.
Yeah.
So she introduced us later that day, and he ended up walking me to my car after work. And we stood out in the parking lot and talked for a couple of hours until I had to come get y'all at daycare. And so that just sort of started being the norm.
What did he drive?
He drove a big old pickup truck.
Yep, that's all you gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
Wranglers, cowboy boots, and a big old pickup truck. You know what? We should gift him. There's a lot of things for Christmas. You know, he said something in the antique mall the other day that he wants.
What?
He said he wants one of those fish that talks, like you put on the wall, but it's connected to Alexa. Oh gosh, I said her name. She's probably gonna start talking to us. That's a good idea. But we should get him like an outfit that he used to wear, like something that he used to wear, like to now that he can.
He would probably love a pair of roper boots. He sold his.
Yeah, he just needs to get back to his roots.
He outgrew his roper boots.
Yeah,
they got too tight on his feet.
And I want a horse. Maybe he wants a horse.
No, you can't buy him a horse. We don't have a place for a horse.
No, I'm not gonna buy him a horse. I'll buy me a horse, and then we can like a horse bond.
Well, that's how I knew him. He was a cowboy, and he had a cowboy hat, and he, anyway. I don't know where we were going with all that, except for that
y'all
job.
were together for 5 years.
He was boyfriend, and we were, yeah.
Mm.
And then Susan.
How did he feel about that?
Susan was my neighbor, Susan White.
Never knew that.
What?
She was your neighbor, and where? The duplex?
That's how we became
Oh
friends.
my gosh, I was thinking Susan, his sister, Susan White.
No.
Are we dropping last names? Yes, we are. Okay. Yeah, duh.
She was my very first friend that I made because we had like 2 buildings between us.
Yeah.
And then we both ended up moving across the street, and we were in the same duplex.
Yeah.
Side by side. But yeah, so I've known her forever. But she would babysit y'all for me to go out with him.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
And then, but we didn't go out much.
We were at her house a lot. So y'all were always dating? Y'all were always going on dates?
Well, I mean, he would take me out in the beginning. And then it got to where we did things with y'all. I didn't want him around y'all till I knew I was...
Serious?
Yeah, like I was trying to protect y'all.
You left him with us for a week. And you went out of town.
But we had been dating for several months by then.
Months? And you left your children with a strange man? Oh my gosh. That's what's wrong with us.
He was very trustworthy.
Well, thank goodness it
Listen,
could have gone really sad.
That was on my list too. It had to be somebody very trustworthy, very stable, good common sense, didn't like to party. I mean, I had made myself a list. So that's something else I tell my single moms. Make yourself a list of the criteria that you do want when it's time for you to want to maybe engage with a man at some point.
Yeah.
There has to be a list.
And leave them with your kids for a whole week as a test run.
Honey, it was 2 months he was with y'all.
You were gone for 2 months? Where were you at?
In Colorado.
For what?
For work.
For 2 months?
Yeah.
60 days and you have 2 children and your work was like, leave your kids?
I think it was 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
It was
traumatizing.
All right, so
is that when I was potty trained? Now it's all coming back to me.
Y'all were older then.
No, I was little.
Little. I don't know.
Oh,
I had not. We had
fully. So this is not advice for a single mom.
It wasn't a bad thing.
I mean, we turned out.
I had lots of friends around too. The daycare workers were very engaged in y'all's lives. My neighbors were very engaged. His family was everybody was very
Did he
committed.
Cook?
Yeah, he cooked.
So we still have
Don't you
meals.
remember he made Angel eat Brussels sprouts?
No, that was when he may have done that bigger.
And he was going to make her eat these. And she put them, he said, you're just going to have to at least try them. And if you don't like them, then you don't have to eat them.
He made them the worst way.
Oh yeah, because they were those steam in a bag Brussels sprouts with the fake cheese.
Stop it. I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Never.
And he said she had Brussels sprouts running from her mouth. And he would fix her hair. You know, it was the late 80s.
Oh.
And she had the curly hair and the bangs and the little rooster bangs that came out. And so I had given him instructions of this is, you know, you've got to take the curling iron, just give a little bend to the bangs and a little hairspray. And so he burned her with a curling iron across her forehead and took her to daycare. And they're like, oh no, don't do this ever again. You bring her here, we'll do her hair. And then they would have him coffee ready. So he would bring y'all to daycare. They had him coffee. They would do y'all's hair.
You're like, poor guy.
Everybody loved John. You know.
Well, they still do.
Yes. John has his own kind of charisma.
Yeah.
And everybody loved John and they helped him. But I mean, it was a community effort to take care of y'all. So IBM sent me to Colorado. John had been to Colorado and done this previous to me.
Oh, he knew what it was about.
And in a different area in Colorado. But we were transferring product from there back to Charlotte. Mm. And so then when it came time for me, I thought, oh, I'd like to go to Colorado and do that. And maybe it wasn't a full 2 months. It was several weeks. I came home one time during the time. That was it.
Dang.
They flew us home every 3
weeks
or something.
And like somebody could have stayed and watched us?
Y'all were in school.
Bump school. Take your kids.
And I worked all day. I mean, no, that wouldn't have made sense. And so y'all continued with your regular schedule. So you didn't even know I was gone 2 months.
Yeah, because I was a child. I was
you didn't even miss me. Yeah, so I got him broke. I mean, I thought if he can take care of my kids for all these weeks while I'm gone, and he still wanted to stay around.
And you would call every day?
Yeah, we talked every day. And of course there was no Skype or Zoom or any of that. No cell phones.
That's sad.
But I would call every night. We would talk, and I would talk to y'all, and everybody was fine.
That is, oh my gosh, it's all coming back. That is when he had us watch Freddy Krueger, which is horrific.
No, y'all watch Freddy Krueger with me.
Oh my gosh. So in your room at that home, there was like a glove that he had brought over.
Yeah.
It was the Freddy Krueger, and I never could say Freddy Krueger. It was like Freddy Cougar or something. I don't even know.
Freddy Cougar.
And it was the most horrific movie. I don't even know. Don't even know. Don't even Google it. It's horrible. I don't even know. Ugh. That's why I probably hate scary movies.
Well, I mean, I took y'all to see Batman at the movies. I remember we went to the Dollar Movie, and Batman was showing. Not the cartoon, the real Batman with the real Joker and the real...
and the leather cat suit, like Catwoman was...
And y'all had... Angel had a friend spend the night. And her friend said... And we went to the late movie. It's like the movie didn't start till 9 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
And the girl said, I'm not allowed to be out after 9. I said, you are with me now. You are not at home tonight. And we took y'all, I don't know, y'all probably fell asleep in the movie, but y'all probably watched it because I was all about exposing y'all to things.
Oh, I see.
I wanted you to have real life experiences, and then I was all about talking with you about it. And we would talk and talk and talk and talk. John thought I talked to y'all way too much. Like, he thought, I think he married me because he wanted to save y'all from me.
So, okay, let's talk about that. You say we talked, but I think maybe you talked to us a lot when we were younger, but I don't think we had in-depth conversations like life lessons.
Because John came into the picture and said,
Probably
no more talking aloud.
Which is so annoying. No, Steve,
No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Talk to your kids. Yeah, I try to talk to Maddox.
Well, then I would talk to y'all and y'all would be complaining to me about John. John is so strict. John is saying, and then I'd go to John and I'd say, John, listen, can we just ease up me? Like, you always take their side. So I was always in the middle.
You were.
And y'all were pulling me this way and he was pulling me this way. And he was like, you need to be more disciplined. And y'all were like, he's too disciplined. And I'm like, It was just bad because I felt like, being married is so hard. That's what I thought the first several years we were married. And it's because, and I tell these single moms that when you're trying to raise your children, you almost have to just commit to you're going to be the mom and the dad for these kids, and that is your priority, and that is it. And you can't be trying to live out your dreams and live out your fantasies and all that stuff, because your kids take precedence over all of that.
Yeah.
Your spiritual walk with God and your kids. Yeah. That is it. So I'm sure they hear me and they're like, oh my God, she is not realistic. But that's really how it was with me until, you know, John came into the picture. And then still, you know, he had his place, I had my place. These are my boundaries. I was very, very guarded.
Yeah.
And so when the day we got married and you and Angel were walking me down the aisle, and I was doing your hair upstairs, and we had this long winding staircase to walk down, and the photographer and the videographer were like, okay, it's time. And y'all were like, please, Mama, don't do it. Please don't do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I come to the edge of the railing at the top, and they were taking a picture, and all of my greenery from my bouquet hit the floor. Oh. And y'all were crying. I was crying. My bouquet was falling apart. And they were like, come on. And so I had to come down with my bouquet half gone. Y'all were, you know.
You know, it probably is a lot for a kid because we lived at that place. We were moving to another home.
No, we didn't move for another year or two.
Oh, we didn't?
We stayed at our apartment.
Oh.
He moved into our apartment.
Oh.
Then we bought a house a year or two
ago. We probably just knew change was coming, so that's not fun.
Yeah, he was going to move in with us, and everything was going to change.
Yeah.
So, and he had never had any kids, so he was, I mean, it all became very different when Duncan was born. Because all of a sudden, John turned to pure mush.
Yeah, he did anything Duncan wanted. Duncan is now 22.
23.
He just turned 23, guys. Yeah, he is 23. That is crazy that he's 23. Yeah, he's a sweet boy. Mom, you were pregnant at 40. Yeah.
Had him March in my 40, when I was 40, and I turned 41 in June, right after I had him.
Yeah. That's crazy to think that's
23
years ago.
Felt like a teenager when I was pregnant with him.
Yeah.
I had a great pregnancy, went into the hospital, had him, feeling great before I went in, and when I came out, I felt like I was 98 and a half.
Wow.
I weighed 10 pounds more than I did when I went in.
Because of fluid?
Full of fluid. I hurt everywhere. I was an emotional wreck. I was not sleeping. I was nursing for the first time. I didn't nurse you or Angel. And then that started my long journey to find about autoimmune disease. I found out I had fibromyalgia, kind of self-diagnosed because nobody knew back then even what that was or what that meant or how to fix it.
Right.
And so that started my health journey, which kind of was the beginning of now what I do as a health coach.
Yeah. Yeah, so speed us up on kind of that. So you had Duncan when you were 40s, and then obviously now he is fine, you were great. Like there's, great things, but in the midst of all of that, yeah, you had health stuff go on. So you have multiple things. So you have fibromyalgia, but you also have Hashimoto's.
But I was diagnosed with that later.
Yeah.
So fibromyalgia, and by the time Duncan was 2 years old, I had finally gotten diagnosed and started seeing a holistic nutritionist who I hated. She was in her 20s and looked like a Barbie doll and was saying, you can never have chips, and you can never have this, and you can never have this, and you can never have this, and you can never ever think about eating this, and I would sit there and cry in her office, and I said, you mean I can never have chips and salsa again? She said, do you want to die of cancer?
Oh, gosh. What?
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's how she was mean, and she was strict, and I was paying her money I didn't really have, and my insurance wasn't covering it, and I was mad at her. And I was like, but my family, what about my family, and what are we going to eat? And so anyway, it started this long turmoil of a journey trying to figure out how to navigate through that. So that's really what gave me the heart to want to help people who were in that same position. If I just had somebody like me then to say, don't worry about it. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Let's just clean up your food a little bit. let's get strict for a while. Let's just do.
Yeah.
But she approached it differently. And then I looked her up after I became a health coach. I looked her up, called her up.
Oh,
and apologized to her
for being a horrible client.
Yeah, because I really was bad, mean to her. She was mean to me. I was just cried. And
you were upset.
I was just sit in her office and cry.
Yeah.
And but I called her and I said, "This is Dana McNeil. Do you remember me?" And she said, "Yes, I do."
Wow.
It had been 20 years.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, I just want to tell you that I have hated you for 20 years."
Wow.
And she said, "I know."
Wondered.
She said, "I know." And I said, "But the reason I'm calling you is because I appreciate you.
Wow.
And you taught me so much. And I'm so glad that you are part of my wellness journey."
What did she ask about? Was
she didn't. It was a very short conversation.
Back to my office and see
No. She was not even in that anymore. She got real big into essential oils.
So how did you call her?
I found her through essential oils.
Somebody just kept looking up her name?
I had a friend who was she was, pretty involved with an essential oil company. And I was telling her this story. And I told her name and she said, "I know her."
Dang. Mm-hmm. That's okay, so that's cool. I was thinking you called like her office or something and spoke with her. It is funny how people really do kind of impact your life in a way, and you realize how good it was later. Yeah,
she was involved with Dr. Daniel Pompa, who I still follow today.
Yeah.
And I use his protocol. I used it to get well, and then I use a lot of his protocol today in helping other people. But then it was menopause.
Yeah, which, let's talk.
Because I know you're in perimenopause. Listen, they told me for years too. I was in my 40s and they were saying, "You're in perimenopause." And I'm like, "What the heck's that?"
Yeah. Nobody talks about it, but probably a few months ago, I just turned 39 in February, but months ago, maybe it was even not this year, maybe it was last year at some point, but Tabitha Brown, which I think is hilarious, she started highlighting, she was like, "I am premenopausal," and she would how she nicknames everything, and she has a funny way of talking about how hard it is, and she's like, "Nobody tells you this, nobody talks about it, this needs to be a conversation." I'm like, what the heck is this? So turn 39, everything's fine, but then so my periods have always been very regular, but now they're weird. It's crazy how 1 year your whole body can change. So where are we at right now? April? So it was March. So I had the symptoms for 2 weeks of my period. I felt like I was on my physical period and nothing was happening. So I was like, that's really weird. And then I started and then I was like, of course. I'm like, okay, well, here we go. And then normal 5-7 day, I don't know, however long. And then it goes away. Then in 3 days it comes back. I'm like, oh my gosh. And now I'm burning up. Everybody's freezing when they come over. I am sweating, so I crank the air down. I am hot. The fan's on full blast at night.
Have you ever been checked for Hashimoto's?
No, but all of I had it in depth.
Those are all Hashimoto symptoms too.
Yeah, but I had an in depth whole workup, even things that they don't typically do. If you go to the doctor and you're like, "I need blood work done," they're kind of doing basic.
Yeah, they'll never look at Hashimoto's.
Yeah, but anyways, I can't remember all the things.
Your thyroid antibodies.
Yeah, I have all that checked. But everything's really good. The only thing that's always weird is my iron, which has always been weird. It's not low, but it's on the lower side.
Mine was always right on the border.
Yeah. But I also have an autoimmune disease. For 12 years, I've been a type 1. So I deal with that. So I have symptoms of high to low blood sugar. I'm not stable. When it comes to that too. So it just, I'm like, okay. So my body's going through it right now. And it's weird. And I was working out consistently for almost 2.5 months. And I was craving a workout. I loved it. But then when I felt the week of my period, I don't work out because it's exhausting. I just mentally can't do it. And I haven't been back in the gym in a month. which really sucks because it's not good for my health. But I'm mentally and physically, my body feels like I'm like in this whole, I'm like, what is going on with me? It's really bizarre. So I don't even know. I don't think you really can do anything.
So why didn't you get back to working out?
I just haven't because like my body just feels weird. And like I just don't want to.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's like it takes strength and effort. And
yeah, and working, when I'm doing it, I think also this is what happens. I get in my head too much. But I was like, when my period's done, I'll get back in the gym because that's always what happens. But I get in my head a lot. But if I walk every day, I feel so much better. If I just walk 1 mile every day, and I'm like, just start walking
outside.
again. Outside. Don't lift yet. It's fine. But if I go and lift, I feel really good after. So it's not like I hate it. It's just like something's going on internally in my body, obviously, in my brain. Their wires are not meshing. My wires
it's
are
a mindset.
disconnected.
It's a mindset. Yeah. It's a procrastination. Yeah.
So, anyways, I do need to get back in the gym because I know it feels good. And I need to lose 20 pounds. But that's just like, it's just a lot. But I'm 39. I'm not 20 and 30 anymore. Pops was even saying the other day, he was like, I used to work out with all these, my voice changes when I talk like a man. I used to work out with all these girls,
You have different man voices.
I do. That's Pops's. And I'm like, yeah, you used to work out with, and do sports with girls that are 18. Do you know how old I am? I'm 39. So I'm not 18 and I'm not 20. Okay? So it's very different, but he's got me a whole workout routine, but he's like, why are you not in the gym? I was like, my period. He's like, la 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 la, I can't hear it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, it's a lot. I'm very open. I'm more open now as an adult. I think the older I am, I don't care about it. I'm like, let's talk about all the bodily functions, all the things. I think it's a very natural conversation. And it's healthy to talk about. Because when you don't talk about it, guess what? There's no knowledge to be found. Then you don't know. So how are you going to, help somebody else?
Yeah, but you can't force people to talk about things they don't want to talk about. Like
well, then
Steve,
leave the room.
You need to leave Steve alone. Give Steve a break. But, so I got better over fibromyalgia, and then we had a little boy who wanted to eat pizza and sweet frogs,
chocolate milk, chocolicious
chocolate milk.
Oh my gosh, we had two. So this is the thing too. Duncan had a lot of sweets as a younger kid. We didn't have any of that.
Well, and that was John, because I would be like, he does not need this chocolate milk.
At night before
let him be a kid.
Yeah.
And so I really felt guilty, like I was starting to be the food police, because I had been dealing with this holistic nutritionist, and he was like, don't push that on me and him.
Yeah.
Let him be a kid.
This is his new boy. This is his boy.
Right. And he was just understanding what it meant to be a father, a biological father of a son. And he was so proud. And he was all, he became scoutmaster, and they got into Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, all this stuff. So anyway, I let John make too many decisions, I think.
When it came to food.
When it came to that. So anyway, but we started.
But Duncan has a really good relationship with food now. He's very aware. He's really smart. I think he's come a long way from when he was a child. Now, I don't see him every day at home like you do. But I say that because sometimes parents can probably feel like, oh my gosh, I did all this to this kid when he was younger, blah, blah. And now they're older. How are they going to do when they're older? Are they just going to have a horrible relationship when it comes to food? You know what I mean? I just feel like he probably has a really good
Well, I think
balance.
he does have kind of a pull-push, torn relationship, because I was always like, we can't have this, we can't have this, we can't have this, because of this voice in my ear.
Yeah.
And then John let him be a kid, relax, blah, and he's got to enjoy life, and blah, blah. So I was being torn, so I probably projected that onto him, because he's still that way now. I'm that way. I'm very strict at home.
Tell him what you did yesterday?
But Angel made chocolate pies yesterday, and I said, I was tutoring, and I smelled that chocolate. I said, I'm going to come in there and lick the pot.
Literally.
And I fought the grandkids to get all the chocolate out of it. And then I had her make me one.
Yeah.
2. I left 1 here.
But it's okay. But it's like okay.
That's right. And that's what I tell my clients. It's not all or nothing.
Yeah. You can't deprive yourself.
It's life. And this is a lifestyle. And one of the things that I love in the way I coach is I teach intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting creates such a great environment for life because you can allow your body to heal itself, rejuvenate, create new cells, clean up bad cells while you're fasting, and then you eat clean and you do all these things most all the time. But then when it's a wedding or a baby shower or a birthday party or angels making chocolate pies or whatever it is, then you can say, yeah, I'm going to have this. I'm going to make a choice to have this. Easter, yes, I'm going to have a piece of chocolate pie because she had it there. Right. And then I even went back and got me a little piece of carrot cake. I mean, it's okay to do that. I don't worry about, oh, that's going to put me under and that's going to make me sick again and that's going to make me overweight. The problem is when you do it every single day. That's right. So I can't have those things in my house. I'll eat them.
Yeah. It's too tempting.
So that's the first thing I tell people as clients. Yeah. Let's get your kitchen cleaned out. You can't have this stuff in your pantry and in your refrigerator. You're going to grab it.
And then grab things that are satisfy you,
yeah.
You know, but still, sometimes you're just a muncher and you just want to munch on food, but like having a better choice. I can't eat that stuff because it actually, if I didn't have diabetes, it would be different. I probably would also be like, I can't have that because of just health, but I physically get sick.
Well, I do too, Amber.
Wow.
I do too. And that is autoimmune disease. And I was going to say a while ago, when you are susceptible, you have one, you're susceptible to other autoimmune diseases. And they all come from the same place. It's toxicity.
Yeah. And
when you're giving your body sugar, which is one of the most toxic ingredients that you can ever have, refined flour is another, and then the artificial dyes, flavoring, coloring, all those things, anything artificial that you're putting into your body, your immune system is attacking. It's causing inflammation. It's causing cellular inflammation. It's causing pain and aches and weight gain and brain fog and mood swing. It's causing all the things because then you don't have the communication going on between your cells and your hormones.
Yeah.
They can't communicate and there's chaos going on in your body. And that is, in a nutshell, what autoimmune disease is. So you have to calm it all down, not by suppressing the immune system. That's what the doctors want to do. Let me give you a medication to suppress your immune system. No. You got to keep the things out that's causing your immune system to overreact.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to get into doctors because that is a whole can of...
Listen, I'm not anti-doctor either.
No, I'm not either, but they really piss me off. It really is a horrible... It's beneficial in most ways because, you need your doctor and you need all these things. Like, it can be a great thing. But then when they don't fight what's happening to your physical body to give you, like, any answers, or they just want to be, like, push a medicine on you, like, it just, I'm like, oh.
Well, because they're all led by Big Pharma. That's just the bottom line. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how they're trained to administer pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah. And their office stays full. It's crazy.
And, that's the battle I fight as a health coach is most of the time when I get a person who needs my help and they're ready to surrender and say, okay, I need your help. They're on 5 medications or more.
Yeah.
They're way overweight. They're not sleeping at night.
Yeah, and they don't feel good.
They don't know how to eat.
Yeah.
So it really starts this journey, but intermittent fasting really does kind of jumpstart things. And if people would just get how beneficial that is.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you want to know more about intermittent fasting.
And I did write my little workbook, that I use.
Yeah.
And I basically just wrote that as a resource for my clients so that I wasn't having to repeat everything over a million times.
I'll link my mom and stuff in the show notes in the description so y'all can go and find her on social and then reach out. That would be a good idea.
Yeah, because I wrote the book to just give people a guide.
Yeah.
Whether they use me as a coach or not, but it's really meant to be kind of a resource along with having a health coach to
Right.
guide you. Because it's hard. It's like you say about exercising. I know Steve, when he was meeting you in the garage
Yeah.
to work out, in the garage I know is a gym out there now,
Yeah.
but when he was meeting y'all out there, and it wasn't just you, but it was you and Angel and sometimes Ava.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
But then when maybe Angel couldn't work out, and Ava wasn't here, and then it was just you, and then Steve would say, well, I'm going to give you your workout to do. Doing it by yourself is hard.
It's different. Yeah.
And that's the same thing with a coach. You can do it, but it takes so much self-discipline and self-motivation. And when you have someone kind of holding your hand and guiding you along and saying, okay, come on, let's do this. You can do this. Let me show you how. This is what I want you to do today.
Yeah.
It makes it easy and even fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one thing that helps me through a workout is called habit stacking, and I do that quite often when I exercise. If I don't have someone, because
I've never heard that. What's habit stacking?
Oh, it's so good. Let me tell you, because it's what gets me through. I'm gonna teach my mama something, y'all. You do something that you love and enjoy with something that you actually don't enjoy, but you know you need to do.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Well, then you habit stack.
Okay.
Yeah. So I enjoy walking outside, but not just walking with nature and being one with the ground. I don't enjoy that, actually. I enjoy walking for a mile because I'm listening to a really good podcast, or I'm listening to an episode of a show that I was wanting to continue listening to. And I can get through that walk with no problem at all. It motivates me the whole walk. I'm so excited. I get done with my walk. Now I'm motivated to do something different. And then when I'm in the gym, I have a playlist of music, which is not my go-to, but I will listen to music if like the kids are running in and out or whatever. But I typically want to also listen to a show or podcast. So I will have my workout written out for me, and I'll do the same thing in the gym. So I can get my workout done in probably 45 minutes, do a mile, do weights, and then I'm done. But if I don't have that, it's torture. I'm like, oh, I hate it, because it really sucks. I think people enjoy working out when you are in it, in the middle of it, or you are done. I don't think people crave, your body physically actually craves it, because you realize, oh, I haven't lifted in 2 days. My body needs to move. It's like if you were bedridden for days because you had a surgery. You're like, I need to get up. My body hurts. I need to move. Your body starts to crave it. So that's how I get. But I'm not like, I can't wait to work out tomorrow. I'm so excited about doing legs. No. I want to listen to that podcast that I've been wanting to listen to all week. I'm going to go work out for an hour and I'm going to listen to it. And you were habit stacking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if no one does that, it's the best method ever to get you through something. Washing dishes, hate it with all my life. But I've done it since I moved out. So literally for my whole life, I wash dishes. I listen to a show. Anytime I had my headphones on, I'm listening to something. I'm doing laundry, I have my headphones on. I have my headphones on a lot at home. I'm cooking, I have my headphones on. Because I'm doing something that I don't thoroughly enjoy. So I have to do something with it that makes it more fun. You know?
I don't even own a pair of headphones
You
or
probably-
earbuds.
You should be blessed with that. It'll
Well-
really save people around you.
Well, there's something about having electronics in my ears I don't like. But I listen to podcasts when I'm driving. So I come back and forth from Concord to Salisbury all the time.
Right.
And I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Or I'm on a phone conversation sometime with somebody I enjoy talking to.
Yeah.
But what I do as far as my habit stacking, I love to play spades on my phone.
But you're doing that
So,
with what else?
Okay, but here's how I do this. I make myself a list of what I want to see accomplished by the time I go to bed that night. And I have that every day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's things I have to do.
Yeah.
But then there are things I want to get accomplished. They don't have to be done, and I could easily say, no, I'll do that another day. But it's what I want to get done.
Okay.
And one of those things that goes on there is I do a 10-minute workout every day.
Yeah.
And that 10-minute workout is basically a little bit of strength training, a little bit of high impact, and a little bit of just stretching.
Yeah.
So it's not anything major, but 10, sometimes 15 minutes, but definitely 10 every day. That's always on my list. Usually it's making a couple of phone calls because I do some referral marketing as well for a wellness company. And so usually it's making a few phone calls and or following up with, then I've got my client calls and that kind of stuff. But I have all this on there, and then it's housework because I don't have anybody come and clean my house like some people do. Wow. So I clean my own house.
Here, y'all.
And so it might be, okay, I need to vacuum the floors, I need to clean the downstairs bathroom. Things like that.
Yeah.
So what I do is I say, okay, let me go check off 2 things, get 2 things done, and then I can sit down for 15 minutes and play spades.
Oh, well, yeah. Yours is more of a reward system.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, the habit stacking is like you do it at the exact same time, but you are rewarding yourself for doing something, which is really the same thing. You are getting something in return for doing something you don't enjoy. So yeah, that might work for you if you don't want to listen or...
And I learned that in my long-term Mary Kay career.
Yeah.
I remember I had a national sales director, Winnie Lou Ferguson.
Yeah.
She was gone probably before you came along. She was an older woman, but she was so wise. But she always ate her dessert before she ate her meal too.
Yeah, some people do that. I ordered dessert with my meal the other day when I went out with the girls.
But anyway, she would always say, these are your accomplishments for the day. What's your reward? She would always ask us, what was your reward? What did you do for yourself?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But that's just something I like to do.
Yeah. I like that.
And I like playing cards with people.
Yeah.
Too, but I don't always have people to play cards with.
Right.
So.
Well, that's the reason this room got started too, because, I wanted to change it, but we were going to call it the game room because we have like the round table for cards, so it was really good. Did we have this at No, this wasn't in here at Christmas. Mm-hmm. We did have a round table in here, but we sat in here and people played poker and different games. Y'all were so serious. I'm like, what is the game?
We're very competitive.
Y'all are very competitive.
Yeah, you like FaceTime.
FaceTime, I'm like, Mom's like, that doesn't even take any
skill.
And I'm like, wow. Freaking jerk.
I mean, it does take a little skill. But
they're like really playing cards, which is fine, but it is after 2 rounds.
We're not playing poker for money. We played poker once at Christmas, and I had played kind of for the first time.
But that's hard.
But I love to play like spades or rook or...
yeah.
And Linda brings card games that I've never heard of before and teaches.
Which makes it fun.
I like learning a new game sometimes too.
Yeah.
And mastering it.
So
I want to learn it and master it.
Yeah. I just think, cards, it's a big thing in our families. Both sides.
I grew up playing cards. Yeah. Our family just, my daddy, he was the preacher, and so he was like, no.
Oh, we didn't even talk about you being a preacher's kid. PK?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
And a lot of times during my life, we lived in the parsonage next door to the church.
Yeah.
Which was not fun.
Well,
it had its perks.
Yeah.
But I remember, my daddy was a good card player. He loved to play rook, and he was good at it.
Yeah.
So I remember, even as a kid, and we would play at the beach. Like, we always went on a week-long vacation at the beach every year. That was just a done deal. My dad liked to surf fish. We would always get a big house. It was usually a block back from the ocean or the beach because of the cost. So we would have to, we weren't just right there on the beach. But like my grandmother Willis would come, and Betty and Melvin would come, and the whole family. We'd get a big old house.
That's sweet.
And, my grandmother would cook, and my mom and Betty would lay out on the beach, and we'd play on the beach and all the stuff. But anyway, at nighttime, it was card playing time. We all played cards.
Yeah.
And you had to be good to get in on a game.
Yeah.
And if you didn't win, you were out and somebody else got in.
Wow. They would kick you out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Only 4 could play rook at a time.
Oh, so then if you weren't great that round, you're out. Somebody else sit in.
And so I remember starting, I was probably 5 years old when I was playing. And my daddy, I remember distinctly him saying to me, "That was a dumb move. What'd you do that for?"
Oh, my gosh.
We just learned... He was a good daddy. He was a good daddy.
But not at the card table. He was
But he was going to win, and he taught us to win. So that's why I do the way I do with my grandkids. I try to teach them cards and games, and I don't let them win.
Yeah, I
Checkers.
had a the other day at tutor. Mom tutors the boys, by the way. And she's very good at it. But anyways, they're beating on the table. I thought something was going down in that room. I'm like, what are y'all doing here? She's like, I'm teaching them. I don't even know how you responded. But I was like, well, it sounds
No, Cruz. Sometimes we have to clap out a word, okay?
And your clapping is a lot for this sound.
Okay, sorry. I said, clap it out. And he wasn't really doing, I was like, clap it out.
Yeah,
and so he went, bam, bam, bam. Yeah, he was clapping on the table. And Amber busts open the door. What are you doing in here? Stop that. And I'm like, we are tutoring. We are.
Sounds like y'all.
And then Cruz said,
fight.
we're clapping our word.
Oh my God, it was very intense.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm also in kind of a foul mood every afternoon, so I'm very annoyed.
Yeah, you come in yelling.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot. If you were with us, it's a 30-minute
Cruz
drive
said
home.
one day, she has lost her mind. I'm like, I think
the 30-minute drive home, you would they get in the car, and I'm like, how was your day? Was it a good day? And it just, I am so calm, and they take it to the next level, which then I can't ignore. I have to parent them, and now it turns into World War III. In the car, 30 minutes. And I get home, and I'm exhausted. And then they don't listen when they get out of the car. I say, do this. They don't do that. Do you know what they do? They go, I don't even know. They're running in the front yard, and they're not even doing what I told them to do. So now I'm annoyed. It's a whole thing. So then I put on my headphones, y'all, and I ignore. That's what I do.
Well, that's no good. Let me tell you something I used to do when y'all were kids before we go to the grocery store.
You didn't have headphones back then, so.
I never ignored y'all like you do.
I don't ignore them.
You
It's
just said you did.
No, I ignore like I'm done. I'm just like I'm tapped out. So
all right, but I'm going to tell you what I did to prepare y'all for a grocery store because I knew.
I don't take my kids to the grocery store. It's the worst mistake.
But listen, I really did. I made it sound earlier like my neighbors just kept y'all every time I need to go somewhere, but it wasn't like that. Y'all went with me everywhere, and I knew you had to behave yourself. And people would always compliment me that your kids are so well behaved.
People say that about my boys too. It's
okay.
Very interesting, but it's weird because it doesn't seem that way to us. Did you think we were well behaved?
Yes.
Oh.
All right. So, but before we would go to the grocery store, I can remember this so vividly. Every time, not one time, every time before we go, I'd say, okay, y'all, we're going to the grocery store. Here is my list of groceries I'm getting. There's nothing else on here that's going to get bought. When you see this cereal or that cereal, and back then they used to put prizes in the cereal box.
Always.
Don't be trying to grab the cereal in the cereal aisle. And when we go through the checkout and there's all these candy bars on both sides and y'all are at eye level with them walking through, that's why they do that. Don't get that. We're not getting that. We're not getting this. Do not ask. If you ask, there's going to be trouble. Do not ask. Do you understand me?
I'm feeling very triggered.
Yeah. But y'all didn't. You went in the grocery store. We got our stuff. We checked out. We got home. I had to prepare you ahead of time. Maybe, no, I'm not going to offer you a suggestion because that's going to trigger you and make you mad. Getting instruction. Some people have a lot of triggers with just taking instruction. I think the reason as parents at this stage of my life, you want to give so much instruction is because you realize, oh God, if I'd have just known this 20 years ago, if somebody just told me this 20 years ago, 40 years ago, I could have done this. So you want to tell your grown kids everything, and then they're like, I don't care.
Well, my instruction is our kid. We used to randomly 3 to 4 times a week. Let's go get a little fun drink after school. Let's go get a little bite to eat after school. We did all that, right? So the last 2 years, it has been, we do it once a week. So if we go grab something, it's once a week. So if you choose to do it, they don't choose the day. I choose the day. But if it ends up happening to be on not the same day, it is what we already did it that day. It's fine. They also they don't always, they buy lunch at school 1 day a week. Just to change it up 1 day, that's it. And so they know that. But they get in the car and they are starving. And it is a absolute meltdown.
Well, then you need to have them a snack in the car.
I do. It is not good enough. I want Chick-fil-A.
Well, you've spoiled them
I
rotten.
want a burger.
That's the truth. You've spoiled them.
And they just do it, and they say it. They don't like when I yell. But I'm like, I didn't just start yelling on day one, on like ask 1. I yelled on ask 4 and 5. So y'all don't hear me when I say, no, we're not doing that. We're going to go home and we're going to go get something to eat. And they're like, but I'm starving.
It's like Leanne Morgan, the comedian, that says, she talks about picking her kids up at school and how they're out there punching their friends and the principal and saying, hey, y'all, have a good day. It's been so good. And then they get in the car and they're like, throws the backpack to the back seat and knocks her in the head with it and says, don't you even have a piece of cheese in this car? She says, they turn into these fun, monsters. Well-behaved kids into these monsters. So I do get that. And your kids are different with you than they are out in public. I get that too. But I'm going to just tell you.
Oh, God.
When they're at my house.
They're angels.
They're not angels. But they do know there are rules that they know. Like, do not open up my refrigerator.
But this is the thing. You act different. You get your grandparents' home. It's not your home. Even though it's your home, your family, it's very different. They first
started coming, and they would come fling open the refrigerator, and what you got to eat in it? I'm like, no.
No.
You don't go in my...
staying at your house?
What? Tell me.
Cruz said this the other day. He said, because I've gotten addicted to tea, like having like hot tea, instead of like another hot cup of coffee, because I can't be doing that all day. Anyways, I made my tea, and he said, I'm just going to do some hot water and lemon. Meemaw has me do that in the morning because it's good for my system. It flushes me out.
It does make them go poop.
I'm like, well, it is great for you, but okay. Like, it just...
They do my routine. When they're at my house, they do what I do.
Yeah, they juice, they clean... Well, Maddox juices every day now with his celery juice, and he's obsessed with it. He loves it. But, no, it's just funny that the things they say that they do.
Well, I started taking them one at a time, and I love having them one at a time.
We hate it.
I know you hate it, because y'all like having a vacation when I take them all.
Yeah, I'm like, have both of your grandkids, let's have a date night.
Well, I can do that sometimes, but I like having them one at a time, because I really get to know them, and they really get to know me. Otherwise, what I'm doing when they're all three there, screaming.
I know. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I want to scream. I mean, they don't, I don't scream like you do, though.
I have a very deep...
I don't scream. Let's just go ahead and clarify. I don't scream at them. But I will put them all in timeout.
Yeah, we don't do timeout.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, you get in that... I don't care if they're 15. You sit in that chair, and you sit in that chair, and you sit in that chair. Do not speak. Do not talk. Yeah, you send them to their room and stuff. I don't have a room to send them to. They sit in a chair. And I'm like, don't speak, and I don't want to hear your voice. Hush your mouth.
Do you see how you're talking right there? I speak like that, but mine has more of like a I said what I said.
Yours comes out demonic.
I have a very, it just goes like...
It is called self-control.
No. I'm going to tell you something. You did it. You're a parent, and you're still parenting. But when they're this young, I ain't got no chill. I ain't your buddy, and I ain't chilling with you. So I ain't got no chill.
I'm not their buddy.
Yeah.
But I do fun things with them.
Yeah, because you're grandma.
And so I try to always have some kind of a craft or something. But when Cruz stayed with me, I made him a lemon juice with a little bit of Celtic salt.
It's good for a system. Flushes him out.
Well, it really did. And
he poops like on command. He's regular.
Okay. Anyway, I said, so drink this down. And we just both, I said, it gives your body a good flush every day.
He loves it. Mm-hmm. Well, he's created it here now.
That's good.
It's his favorite.
Well, that's something that I wonder about all the time. I was actually going to ask you that, what is it that you think you'll remember? Yeah. What is it that you think that you'll remember about me when I'm gone?
Oh my gosh, a lot of things. I don't know. That's a hard one. You should have asked me that so I could have prepped. Remember about you when you're gone?
Because things about my mama that I kind of took for granted. Granted, I took for granted about my mom. I miss the most.
Yeah, so a couple things that are coming to mind is that you keep a really tidy home, and that when we come over, well, you do. I mean, we live in our spaces, but you're really good at like putting it together. You like to, when we come over as a family, you always want the table to be, it's nice little way. You like to serve us. So that's always really special and sweet. I like when you do that. But we're like, sit down and eat. You're like, I got it there. Like, you're up here. But like, that's how you are as like wanting to like host. But you always make really good meals. You've always done that as like, I remember that. I don't really remember it where we used to live. I remember it like in the house I grew up in. That's what the home I refer to. But we always had a home cooked meal. We never had a microwave something, like open the can. Like, it was always like you were buying good food and you made a meal. Like, it wasn't like I just threw something together. So I'll probably miss that and remember that and always tell the kids that type of stuff.
Well, I try to do that for them. Like, I think sometimes probably a lot of grandparents would, when their grandkids come up, what do you keep looking at?
Making sure everything's still recording.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't have a producer.
Well, I didn't know if you were running out of time. You always look like, is that almost time? Oh, shut up.
I'll tell you if we're done. We really probably have 5 minutes, but you're good.
Well, I think probably a lot of grandparents, their grandkids come, and I don't know. I don't know what other people do. Maybe order pizza or whatever, and I think, is that what they really want? Do they want me to do something fun? Because
they like when you cook.
But I cook, and it's funny because I'll ask it, and I hadn't had them in a while, actually. But I used to ask Cruz, what do you want me to have? What did you say? What do you want me to have?
Yeah.
What do you want me to cook for you? And he'd say squash.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Squash.
And it would just melt my heart. It made me so happy.
Yeah.
So, and then because he would always help me cut the squash and put it, and I would let them help me cook, and they would eat, and I would always take video of them to show y'all, look at these clean plates. They clean their plate. And they're always like, can I have seconds? And then they clean that. And then, I mean, they are good eaters at my house.
Yeah.
But I don't have junk.
Right.
Like, they know their snacks are I always have plenty of bananas and apples. And they have bananas and apples for their snacks. I always make them a big breakfast if they're there. And I always have a dinner. Like, they spend the night, we have a big dinner that night. They have breakfast in the morning. They usually are gone by the afternoon. But when it's 3 of them, that's all I get done. And so I'm not interacting with them. I'm cooking and cleaning and picking up and, somebody scraped their nails. Sorry. And then, sorry.
Sorry.
Didn't mean to offend you. But when I have one-on-one, they get to help me, and it's just, I just feel like it's time they'll remember me more.
Yeah, no, they do. They like when you do that. So
I really do think about that a lot. I'm getting ready to turn 64.
Yeah.
And I think about
there.
Well, I mean, people have died a lot younger than me.
No, I know. Somebody said something to me the other day about somebody dying at like 62, and I was like, that is so young.
Yeah.
It's like,
so
just starting.
You just think, I mean, listen, my goal is to live to be 100 or more and to feel amazing and to be around to see my grandbabies have grandbabies.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ready to have my first grandbaby's grandbaby.
I know.
Not my grandbaby's grandbaby, but
I know.
great-grandmother. But I want to see that for Jasper too, my youngest. And so, I don't know what I was saying with that. Oh, but I do think about how people will remember me.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's really sweet. That's how I will. I mean, there's a lot of things I think that we do on road. I think about a lot when people say like, oh, I miss my mom, I miss my dad, they've passed. I wish I could just call them. Stuff like that, like we call you.
I mean, I want them to remember me saying, oh, she loved Jesus. She was always talking about Jesus.
Yeah, but I don't think that's my first line.
No, that is not. But I do love Jesus.
I know you do, and But like I think of things that you carry on as well, like just like your daily stuff. I just feel like preparing for your family when they come over to eat, keeping your house together, and like just little. I don't love to cook, but I like to I cook my kids breakfast every single morning before school. We don't really do cereal. Like once a week, I'm lax. I'm like, go have some cereal, get bar and milk. Let's rock and roll. But there's most of the time I'm making eggs, I'm making bacon, I'm making sausage, I make a bowl of fruit. Like I'm making food. And then I pack their lunch every day. Like I try to create good habits because you make good habits. And I think that's passed down. So I think that that's something that I'll definitely remember.
That's nice.
You're welcome.
What have I taught you? What's something I've taught you?
Oh my gosh, we got to end this podcast.
I know, but it's just so good. I just have so many more questions.
Well, maybe we need to have another one where you interview me. We'll see if this one does well, and I'll see if I can have you back.
Everybody said that sucked.
No. This was a really great episode. Thank you for being on. And you can come back at any time. We'll put you in rotation with the list of all the people.
Y'all give really good feedback. So then let me come back.
The audio will drop first in the video, you guys. Thank you so much, Mom, for being here. And then we will see you in the next Add Me to the Group Chat. Make sure you just follow my Instagram because I add to the stories. Like if you want to submit any questions or anything like that I might have that's on an upcoming episode that you want to be a part of, then that'd be super cool. So I will see you in the next one. Thank you guys. And
Bye-bye.
We'll see you later. Dana McNeil online. You can see her, all the things in the descriptions. Go check it out. I think it's called Call Coach Dana.
No.
Oh, just
DanaMcNeil.com.
Oh, yeah, just go to Mom's website, DanaMcNeil.com, and it's 2 L's with McNeil. McNeill. Yeah, go to DanaMcNeil.com. That's a good way, and you'll find all of her things. All right, cool. Thank you.